Welcome back to Gold Seek TV. I'm here in Vancouver at the VRIC conference with an old friend and colleague, Jeff Clark, the founder of PAYDIRT Prospector. Jeff, it's great to
Yeah.
see you. Happy $100 silver,
Yay.
$5,000 gold.
Triple digit silver. How about that?
We have come a long way from the bottom of these markets. Are we nearing the top, or how do you see the situation we're at right now?
I mean, that's a fair question, because if you look at what happened in 2025, the number one major performing asset in 2025 was GDX, gold stocks. In fact, the top 5 last year were all in the precious metals sector, including gold, silver, platinum, palladium, gold stocks. So it's only natural to ask the question, hey, is this going to continue? Are we near a top? Is there a correction coming? So I think you got to ask the question.
And there's a lot of things happening at once in the gold and silver sectors. There's a lot of energy and buying going on. We've never really seen this before. I mean, this is really historic.
It is in gold and silver. And I love that some of the short sellers in silver have to cover, so I'm sure that's part of it as well. But you know what, Peter? I'm still bullish. In fact, that's the number one reason I'm still bullish on 2026 in our sector, is because when you look at the charts of gold, silver, mining stocks, they've all just skyrocketed. They've spiked big time. But relative to almost everything else out there, they haven't moved that much. The ratio of gold to the NASDAQ, for example, did you know the ratio of gold to the NASDAQ is lower now than it was in COVID and in 2016? Gold has barely moved relative to the NASDAQ. And you have the same thing with gold stocks. You look at the gold stocks ratio to gold itself, they're just trading in a range. They haven't done anything as a group. So I have to be bullish when I look at stuff like that.
So you're quite bullish on the silver and gold stocks right now. They haven't really done that big move. It's almost like they still haven't caught up to the gold and silver price from last year. The
Right.
recent move, what's going on? Are people
It's
hesitant?
happened very fast with the move in gold and silver, and gold stocks have not kept up. Again, as a group, there are some wonderful exceptions, but as a group, they have not kept up. And you look at cash flow levels, you've probably looked at this, free cash flow levels versus the move in gold stocks. Gold stocks are up like 2.5 times. Free cash flow is up like 8 times. So, and that's just over a 2-year period. And it's even higher now than it was when that chart came out in Q4 last year. So there's a lot of catch up for gold stocks just to get to free cash flow levels. You combine that with the ratio analysis, and there's still an incredible amount of upside potential, in my opinion.
So from the risk reward perspective, obviously there's always risks out there. The reward still is quite high for the gold and silver stocks at these.
I think so. The risk is we're going to have a correction here at some point, right? You can't run like this and not have a pullback. So for me, the formula to prepare for that isn't to try to predict it or when it's going to happen or how long it's going to be or how big it's going to be. For me, the strategy is very simple. I have a boatload of cash. I have a lot of cash. So therefore, I'm still long. I'm still looking for opportunities. I haven't taken profits in a lot of stuff, but it's because I have a big stash of cash for the crash. So there you go.
So you're prepared for any pullback opportunities.
Exactly.
And there always seems to be other opportunities in the sector coming to these conferences. I've noticed almost every year, I always find another deal or two. Are there more new companies being put together or new opportunities?
What I've been forced to do to a large extent is, because you've had stocks that have gone 5x and 10x in gold and silver, I'm looking a little further down the food chain, really earlier stage companies, even some private companies, some stuff that's brand new, maybe, a new company that's just coming out. So I'm forced to kind of look down there because I don't want to chase too much. I'm not going to buy something that's gone up 10x, so I'm looking a little further down the food chain for value.
And there seems to be a lot of value. I mean, there's a lot of opportunities at these metal prices. The retail has been kind of missing for the Western retail buyers. Especially you notice from the bullion dealer side, they were selling net sellers last year until near the end of the year. So,
Yeah.
like, you're looking around at the show now, you really see a lot of interest. Is this the start of the retail crowd coming into the sector, you
That's
think?
a
Or
very good point because even last year, I noticed the buyback premiums at on silver were like way below spot, like 6, 8, even $10 below spot. And now all of a sudden, here a few months later, that's kind of changing and shifting.
Mhm.
People are wanting to buy more because it's running away, and so those premiums are coming down. So that would be a hint that Western retail is kind of catching on.
Finally here looking past the Bitcoin headlines and the AI headlines and seeing that there's a sector here and that's producing incredible profits. The majors, the
Yeah,
miners, the juniors,
exactly.
the numbers are hard to deny. So I would imagine with the next quarterly results and so on, Wall Street and then the rest of the financial advisors and so on, they're going to have to stop ignoring this sector.
That's a great point. I don't think they'll shift. There's going to be a lot of green on the screen for our sector, right? But I don't know if they'll shift until the Nasdaq and the Dow and the S&P and all of those start to go soft or go into a bear market or crash. Then they're going to be forced to look elsewhere for, what's earning money right now, and there's no way they can ignore this sector.
Yeah, it's hard to ignore.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
They're literally mining money and
Yeah,
printing
right.
profits.
Right, exactly.
It's a quite a time. So to keep on top of what's happening, you do a newsletter. Tell us a little more about what you're doing in the sector.
Peter, we've been growing like gangbusters. It's a reflection of the market. We have to keep up with demand. We have 2 free newsletters, 2 paid newsletters. We just hired a marketing manager. I just hired a geologist. Peter and I both have books we're selling. Our other Peter Kraut. So it's all a demand driven thing. To keep up, I have to do that. And it's all centered around my mandate for myself, but for the company as well. I'm gonna do everything in my power to fully capitalize on this bull market. That's it in a nutshell, and that's why all the hiring recently.
Awesome. It's great to see you doing so well. You stuck through the difficult times and
Yeah, there
you
were some.
learned through, as I have,
Yeah,
how
we all.
difficult this sector can be. So
Yeah,
really trying to take advantage of this
it's a
opportunity.
bull market. You gotta be long, you gotta take advantage of while it's here because this is really what's happening now is kind of a once in a generation event, so.
So to follow you more, or share your website and if
It's thegoldadvisor.com. I'm also on Twitter at that same handle, LinkedIn at that same handle. So yeah,
yeah. Great, Jeff, to see you in person and catch
great.
up. And yeah, I guess we'll see you more here on the show tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. So
We'll
thanks,
look
Peter. I'm
forward to
glad
following
you
you
came
online.
too.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff.
All right, great.
Thank you.